Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another display of destructive power on Grudge Match Unlimited, where we sift through the worlds of fandom to find comparable warriors to pit against one another in one-on-one competition. Today we turn our attention to the worlds of anime and two of the most epically powerful warriors around. From Dragon Ball Z, the Prince of all Saiyans, Vegeta, and the Master Fire Demon of Yu Yu Hakusho, Hiei. And while these two characters have very different origins and backstories, with Vegeta being an heir to an alien race, and Hiei being an orphaned fire demon from Demon World, they do have very, very comparable skill sets and comparable personalities. Both are gruff and mean warriors who actually started out as villains in their respective series and arch nemesis to the main protagonist of their series, but ultimately end up allying themselves with the good guys and becoming stalwart members of the good guys team throughout the entire run of their series. And both have very comparable warrior spirits and attitudes where, even though they may be considered villains by some, they're very honorable, honest, and forthright in what they do. So taking a look at them individually and starting with Vegeta, the character first created in the Dragon Ball series, going on to Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT, was first created in 1988. He is one of the very few last remaining members of the Saiyan race, a race of very, very powerful alien warriors, and he is actually the crown prince of that race. He came to Earth to seek out one of the other last remaining Saiyans, which was the main character of the Dragon Ball series, Goku. And he wanted to defeat him and prove himself the best and most powerful of all the Saiyan warriors. He was never actually able to defeat Goku, but did end up, over time, having to ally himself with Goku and the other Z warriors against even greater threats, and eventually went on to become one of Goku's best friends, even though Vegeta maintains that there's a rivalry between the two. Vegeta has basically all the same types of powers that Goku and any of the Saiyans have in the Dragon Ball series, which includes massively enhanced strength, speed, agility, fighting skills, the ability to fly, and very, very potent energy manipulation techniques, which he utilizes through harnessing the power of his chi, his life energy. And he can use this in a variety of different ways. Some of his most famous attacks utilizing his energy has been the Gallic Gun, the Final Flash, and he can also manage to use the specific attacks of other characters in the series, such as copying Krillin's Destructo Disc, and even doing a very similar move to Goku's Kamehameha Wave, as well as a vast array of ways he can utilize his energy manipulation. He can also ascend into higher forms of power known as Super Saiyan, going to Super Saiyan level 1, 2, 3, and at each stage of the transformation, all of his skills and abilities are further enhanced. Now, like in most Japanese anime, because of the high-octane level of action and the way it's all drawn, it can be very difficult to ascertain the exact limits of all of the powers of the characters. But Vegeta has been shown to be strong enough to crush mountains with a single punch, and also survive being thrown into mountains, and the mountains being destroyed and crumbled around him, and he can get up out of them seemingly unharmed, to be able to take massive punishment in terms of energy blasts that seemingly bounce right off him, don't do him much harm, and can move so fast that it actually leaves after images of himself wherever he used to be. He moves faster than the eye can see, and people still think he's standing where he was originally because he moves so fast it creates an after image. All of these skills combining to make Vegeta one of the most powerful characters in the entire Dragon Ball series. Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho, first created in 1990, while looks like a human, and a rather short one at that, under 5 feet tall, he is actually one of the most powerful demons in the history of Demon World. He is a fire demon by nature, and he was originally born to a race of ice maidens, who only give birth to female children, and he was sort of an accidental birth, and so he wasn't an ice maiden, he was actually a fire demon and a male child, which they don't have in their culture, so his mother abandoned him into the wilderness of Demon World. So he was raised by himself, essentially, living on his own in the wilderness, and had to become very tough in order to survive. And he did. He became one of the strongest and most powerful demons Demon World has ever known. He originally was a villain for the primary character in the Yu Yu Hakusho series, Yusuke Urameshi, the spirit detective, but after being defeated by Yusuke, he eventually went on to become one of his closest allies and was right by his side throughout all of the demon tournaments that Yusuke entered himself into. Hiei has a variety of demonic powers. He's known as the fastest of all the characters in Yu Yu Hakusho, also, like Vegeta being able to move so fast, it leaves after images of himself behind, and even highly powerful demons can't follow his movements because of how fast he is. Increased strength and durability, being able to survive massively powerful demon energy attacks. And he is the master of the Darkness Flame. As a fire demon himself, his primary energy comes from spiritual demon fire, but he is the master of a technique known as the Dragon of the Darkness Flame. This seems to be a giant living dragon made completely out of black fire, and it's a very famous attack because nobody in the history of Demon World has ever been able to fully master and control the Dragon of the Darkness Flame. Anybody who ever tried to use it, it would destroy them as much as it would destroy the people they used it against. But Hiei is the first demon to ever truly master the Dragon of the Darkness Flame attack, and he can use it without it consuming himself. In addition to that technique, he also has a third eye on his forehead, which is known as the Jigan Eye. This gives him a variety of psychic abilities as well. Telepathy, telekinesis, the ability to control lesser demons and humans' minds, hypnotize them. And it also has the Evil Eye Jigan Curse, which is a method that is used to completely immobilize an opponent. Even a very, very powerful opponent can be completely immobilized by the Curse of the Jigan Eye. Using all of these abilities, Hiei is one of the most powerful demons of all of Demon World, known as an upper S-class demon, the most powerful ranks of demons in the entire Demon World. So having taken a look at the skills and abilities of these two characters, it's time now to determine who would win if they were to ever collide in one-on-one competition. That winner's going to be Vegeta. Power to power and speed to speed, these two characters seem to be on relatively equal footing, both being so fast that other people can't even follow their movements. So they're probably the same in terms of speed, strength, durability, and the energy manipulation they use is different in nature, Vegeta's being alien chi energy, being magical demon energy, but they probably would both be able to absorb the same amount of damage from each other in terms of their very, very potent energy-based attacks. Hiei's one trump card is his Jigan Eye, and the curse of the Jigan Eye being able to completely immobilize an opponent. He could potentially use that to immobilize Vegeta. But while that is something that would play into Hiei's favor, it also tends to be his strongest drawback as well. Because the Jigan Eye is not something he was actually born with, he had it surgically implanted. And since it's not actually part of him, it tends to be a weak spot on his body. He's generally extremely durable all over, except in that Jigan Eye. It tends to be very susceptible to damage and being blinded, and if he happens to be blinded in that third eye in any way, it disrupts his powers and lowers his ability to wield his energy. So that's why he normally keeps it covered with a headband so that his enemies don't even notice it or think to try to attack it. If he did take off the headband and try to use that Evil Eye Jigan Curse to immobilize Vegeta, all Vegeta would have to do is create one of his powerful flashes. It doesn't even have to be a straight-up energy attack. He could just make a big flash of light. That flash of light would blind Hiei's third eye and essentially cut off all of his powers for a few seconds until he could recover. That would be essentially all the opening Vegeta would need to deliver some massive, massive punishment to Hiei. So while these two are very, very comparably powered characters, and this is a very, very close matchup, with Hiei having that one hole in his defenses that Vegeta could possibly exploit, while Vegeta doesn't hardly have any holes in his own defense. That is going to give Vegeta the edge and the win of this Grudge Match Unlimited. Message me down below, let me know what you think of the outcome of this fight, as well as any suggestions for future matches. We'll see you next time on the next edition of Grudge Match Unlimited.